What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a live show. Been out for a day or so, and actually things did happen because I think everybody's good friend Gaglione spoke again, surprisingly, after a bad patch of results, and he had some interesting things to say, some crazy things that I kind of left out of this show because I spoke about it on a separate video for tomorrow because he said certain things that were, yeah, you just needed to laugh at them because that's crazy. I think he believes Allegri is coaching PSG or Real Madrid and not Juve at this point. But we're gonna talk about what he had to say and about the media. Is the media is the media actually protecting Allegri a bit too much the last 3 years? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk really quickly on the midfield issue because we have no midfield for Sunday at this point. And again, there's still one day left, so who knows what potentially could get even worse ahead of Sunday. And really quickly on Rabiot's priority contract extension, I think you need to call it at this moment in time. You can call in. Excuse me. The link for that is in the no, it's not in the description. It's in the chat. So as always, you can click the link and I can bring you on. No camera, you can just speak, and everybody can hear you, and we can debate on whatever, basically. Now, I do want to bring up the quote really quickly because I think everybody saw the interview. Again, it's actually hilarious because every time the results get bad, if there's a weird moment or there's something, even if it's Vlahovic not performing for a couple of weeks, or the media, or like there's a leak to the media about potentially replacing Allegri, or actually we are having a bad patch, where we're not picking up the results. His friend is there in front of the media, and again, you can say, the media is calling his friend and he's doing his comments. Fair enough. However, the things he say, if you like, Allegri, you've been around, you listen to pressers, post games, all those quotes, you see Allegri's post quotes. A lot of things that Gaglione says are just, it's just like Allegri speaking. They're just like Allegri speaking. Actually, he said one quote, I thought it was Allegri. I thought, the Tuttosport mixed it up and they had two separate interviews. One was with Gaglione and one was Allegri, and they just mashed it up a little bit because certain things he says is just straight from Allegri's mouth. It really does. However, we're gonna talk about. I picked three quotes out of them because I thought those were interesting. Not really the player's quote and all those, or like he needs this type of player, or no, he named players. Excuse me. I left that out because it was very. Hello, by the way, in the chat. It was very. I don't know. It was very strange. Like he was naming players. I doubt players he actually watches at this point. However, the start of the interview, it started off critical. It started off like, oh, what just happened? And it went down a row. Like it escalated really quickly from, man, he's criticizing Allegri, to it's everybody's fault but Allegri. That's how the interview ended. And I was like, you know what? Big up. You got me in the first half. I read the first paragraphs and I was like, spicy. I ended the interview and I was like, what just happened? Like, what just happened with the first paragraphs? Because they completely disappeared. But he opened up his interview saying that Allegri has lost a bit of creativity. He must admit that he can make mistakes. Um, that's what we all have been saying. That we get the squad is not what it is. We can all accept that, and we've been all calling it out for I don't know how many weeks, months, years, whatever. We get that, but the creativity, excuse me, is lost. There is no in this team. It's very flat, it's very predictable. Every time we play a game, it's predictable. Predictable, excuse me. No matter who we play, it can be Inter, it can be Sanitana. It's predictable in a bad way. We cannot adapt. He cannot come up with solutions that are innovative, where you sit back, you look at it, and you're like, "What, man? I didn't see that." That's actually a good move, or anything in game management. All those things are not really going his way. Actually, this season has been worse than the previous seasons. And then he added, saying that for years, every time he made substitutions, he would change the game, and that's what we talked about. Remember, like back in the day, it's like he made subs and the game changed, and it wasn't always quality subs. It could have just bring in Asamoah in Champions League. Was Asamoah good? Yeah, but it wasn't about Asamoah's quality. Tottenham, for example, Lichtsteiner, Asamoah, it wasn't really the quality of the players that changed the game. Yes, the cross from Lichtsteiner, but it was just the way we played. We pinned Tottenham down on the wings, and they just kept the back three very narrow, and we had tons of space to run into, and we just cooked them. And we took the game to them, and we took over really quickly. That was an in-game management. It wasn't because Asamoah or Lichtsteiner were top quality at that moment in time in that game. It was just tactically he made a change, and before Pochettino had a clue what was happening, we scored two goals. That was what made Allegri very good, because he wasn't bringing up Dybala from the bench, or he wasn't bringing on a Pogba from the bench. He was bringing on Stefan Lichtsteiner and Asamoah in a Champions League. What was it? Round of 18, I think it was. Round of 16, excuse me. Game. So it wasn't about, oh my God, he has Asamoah and Lichtsteiner on the bench. It was just, we're going to change the setup a little bit, and we're going to play two players who can play extremely wide, and it's going to stretch that Tottenham back line. It wasn't, a chuck in 200 million worthy of players and they're going to change the game. That was not the issue. That's what we talk about as well. Like, I know the bench is what it is, but how many times does he make like for like subs? How many times are we watching a game and he just makes a sub and it's just like for like? It's every single time. It's just, I'm going to take out Vlahovic. I'm going to bring in Milik. I'm going to take out Gatti. I'm going to bring another defender. Like, it's not, you know what? I'm going to take out Milik and I'm going to bring on Yildiz. Yes, he did that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and that's it, So the subs are not really, it's not really about quality all the time. It's just actually also the idea behind it. The idea behind, I'm going to make a tactical change, if it's with an okay player, if it's with a top player, whatever. It's just a tactical setup that he missed as well. Then he said it would change the game. Excuse me. Then he said now it's more challenging. After all, if you have players on the bench who are less strong than the players on the field, it becomes tough to turn things around. Now, I get that point as well. Like, I get that. However, sometimes he's making subs to when we're not losing, to just change the game. And that's what I said. He brings on likes for likes. When he can actually bring on a Yildiz and keep on the two up top, and change up formation and try to break them down in a different way. That's the issue. Like, that's the issue. Because yes, if you make like for like changes, it's not gonna look good. And actually, in the past, our bench players have always been worse than our starting. That's kind of logical. Yes, they have more quality, but if we're a goal down and he did that, in the past. What game was it? He takes out Vlahovic and brings on Milik, and we're a score down, and I'm like, that's not really needed. You're a score down. What is the point of doing a like for like sub? At that point, just keep them both out, or change something tactically. That's the big. The big thing, yes, quality lacks, but again, the Tottenham one is a clear example that we didn't bring on top quality. We just had a different plan to stretch Tottenham, and it worked. Like, it just worked. We were getting behind, very easy on a consistent basis until Pochettino made some adjustments, but it worked. And it wasn't because Lichtsteiner and Asamoah were world class at the time, whatever. It was just Tottenham didn't have an answer at that moment in time, and we were just stretching him all over the back line. And that's what won us the game as well in the end. And then he said he lacks a player, and this actually cracked me up. Like, he said he lacks players on the wings who can easily beat their opponents, possesses dribbling skills to create a superiority. Now, when he said that, I was like, you're actually trying to wind up the fan base at this moment in time because he had Di Maria, he had Bernardeschi, he had Dybala, and I know it's not wingers or whatever, all of them, but I will get to my point. He had Chiesa now. He had Sule. Sule is beating his opponent at a rate. It's one of the best in Europe. At Frosinone, send him away. Chiesa can do that, but he looks cooked. Di Maria, awful. Looks awful. Bernardeschi, I don't want to talk about that, but he played him there. He stank out the place. Okay. Who else did we play there? I don't know. Like we signed Timothy Weah, for example. We signed Timothy Weah, and he looks like a player that's just confused out there. He's just there for vibes. He's just there. And somebody says Weah, I see. He has Timothy Weah, but we don't use his strengths. Like we don't get him in behind of players. It's just not working at this moment in time. And I find it strange that he comes out now and says, "Man, he lacks wingers who can beat this man." And I'm like, yeah, but like you had Sule and you send them away. Like, what do you want? And he gave some names, but I'm not gonna say them on this show because I made a video on it. But the names he said, I was like, oh my god. Like it's like saying, oh, he needs Mbappe. Yeah, who doesn't need Mbappe? Like let's be realistic here for a moment. He has Ealing Jr., plays him as a wing back. Also, like a waste of talent, a waste of using the players. And then and again, I'm not saying if you play Junior on the wing, he's going to beat this man consistently, but it's going to look better than as a wing back. So, yes, the excuses, yes, the lack of quality, but at the end of the day, certain things, he doesn't have a winger, he can have a winger. Is Kies the best winger at beating his man consistently? No, I've said it. Like he likes to have his head down too much. Fine, but he can do it. It's not like this. This version of Chiesa cannot beat anyone. Cannot beat his own shadow at this moment in time. It is just what it is. But does anyone really believe that he is that poor of a player? That he's that bad of a player? I don't think anyone believes that. That's the only point I'm trying to make when he talks about all these options, or like, oh, he needs a winger, he needs this, he needs that, basically. Let me bring on a caller. Excuse me. Let me bring on a caller really quickly. Can you hear me? No, you cannot hear me. One sec. Hello? I think you're on mute.
Yo, what's up?
Okay, no, you're on now. It's Steve, by the way. I was blanking out the Lazio fan. I think people will remember that better. Thanks for coming on. I will read out a few comments first.
Yeah, no worries, bro.
Yildiz needs to start. The fact that he hasn't been played much makes no sense. Yeah, lately he hasn't been playing much. But that goes back to my point when he says, when his friend goes out to the media every single time, talks about lack of players. Like he makes certain decisions that is just not helping himself. Oh, he doesn't have a winger. But then he has wingers and he plays them as wingback. So I'm like, okay. Like I'm not saying Junior is one of the best players in the world, but he has wingers and he plays them as wingback. So who are you blaming at this moment in time? You can say he needs that type of player, that type of player. He has wingers. He sent the winger out on loan, who's beating his man and consistently dribbling and all those things, is at the top of Europe in Sule, and he's out on loan. So things I can get, things I can accept in terms of quality, but other things I won't accept. What happens to Ealing Junior's game is that Allegri effect. Yeah, he's not a wingback. Like it's like Timothy Weah is not a wingback in my opinion. But playing with 5 defenders shouldn't be. He shouldn't be scared playing the ball through the middle. Now again, yeah, I mean, I think against Napoli, it was very obvious that you can play a different way. Like you said, the tactics are too predictable, not attractive, and all of individual brilliance is the only thing that gets us goals. Basically, basically, we as a winger in a 4-3-3 or a right midfielder who's in a 4-4-2, he cannot be like. I'm not 100% with Timothy Weahs, but he's not a wing back. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
He's just not a wing back. Like it looks so awkward. Like it looks so awkward. I cannot even
Yeah.
describe how it looks. Every time he plays at a wing back, like every time he plays actually this season, I look at him and I'm like, I'm not actually sure what you're adding to this team. Like on the pitch, it's it's just nothing. It's just nothing. I remember Julian was so exciting before Allegri ruined it. Yeah, this team has winger. They shipped him out. Yeah, Miretti needs to start. Let's see. And Jeff is saying it's been a while. Jeff, hello. Allegri is so stubborn that he would try the same old weary tactics over and over again, even if it costs him his life. Yeah, where I started as a number 9 with PSG, I saw him play countless times back alongside Adil. Now, because I have Steve on, and it's not going to be a very long show, so I'm going to ask him some questions. But
Mm.
basically, what I was talking about, every time we lose a game, or we have a bad moment, or Vlahovic is going through a bad patch, or another player, his friend, Gaglione, who is a good friend of him, is like a mentor, has an interview. Like, and it's not one paragraph, it's a full page. And it's unbelievable. But every time you read that, and if uh, any Juve fan can vouch for it, if you watch Allegri over the years and you hear Allegri, it's just Allegri's words to a certain extent. And it's getting ridiculous. And he said so many things, but one of the takeaways of it is like, oh, he lacks quality, which we all do agree. But then he says he's stubborn at times. He lost a bit of magic a little bit, but then he goes on and the same thing saying, yeah, but he doesn't have wingers who can beat this man, taking shot to Chiesa. And he needs 4 players, and he needs to keep Rabiot, and he needs to add 4 players because we need a midfielder who can score goals and give assists. I'm like, but you just said, you started off by saying you need to keep Rabiot, and then you go on saying we need a player who can consistently assist, shoot from outside of the box. I'm like, I'm not sure. Like when certain things are said, I'm like, that's Allegri, and for me, that's an issue personally. When his agent comes out and talks about the club needs to tell the world basically why will you sack Allegri, and his buddy comes out every single time and says these things. Like I've not seen it at any club. I'm not gonna lie. I've not seen it at any Serie A club where this happens. But I'm not sure if you know who Gaglione is. But if you follow Italian football, he pops up every time Juve loses. That's basically it. He's his friend, and he speaks for Allegri
Mm.
encrypted messages. That's it, basically. But have you seen anything like that? That every single time things go bad, you have a coach's friend basically in the media actually throwing out names as well. I should buy this player, that player, that type of player. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, actually.
The one example I can kind of, it's not like for like in terms of, basically what you're saying is this guy is a filter.
Yeah,
So basically he's saying the words of Allegri, it's just out of his mouth.
yeah,
It's not his personal message, the guy, but it's out of Allegri's words. So for me that reminds me of Man United whenever they have a crap game or they're in crap form, and like one of those journalists will say, "Oh, the players in an unnamed player in the dressing room has said Ten Hag this, Mourinho that. The players aren't happy with training. The players aren't." That's like the one example, but like through an individual, that's crazy. That's crazy. Is the guy a journalist or
no,
something?
it's his
Friend?
mentor. Like it's a mentor from back in the days. Like he's a bit older than Allegri, but like he's his mentor. And like if you hear him speak, it's just like it comes from a place they discuss. Like it doesn't come out of nowhere because he names players. You sit back, like he talks about Madueke. I'm like, you're 70 years old. I don't believe one bit you're sitting at home watching Madueke play at Chelsea. I refuse to
Yes,
believe that because not even I'm doing that. And I like football. I'm not sitting home to watch Madueke play. Like I'm just sorry. Not a bad player, by the way. I'm not calling him out, but like, you're 17 years old. You're not doing that. That comes from Allegri. Certain things come from Allegri, and I just found it strange. I find it strange. Like I've not seen every time something happens. If we lose against Atalanta and the following week we fail to beat Genoa, he will have an interview again. He will, and it's not the first time, obviously with him. Even last week, Allegri's agent came out the day before the game. That never happened as well. And then post game, Allegri said, because he was asked about, what do you think about your agent? Because his agent basically said, if you want to move on from Allegri, Giuntoli, come out. Tell the world why are you not happy with. That's what he basically said. And it was kind of not a diss, but like it was kind of a call out. Hey, if you want to move on from Allegri, you tell him. You tell the world why. That was basically that. And I've not seen anything like that before. And post game, he said, hey, you need to talk with my agent. He speaks for himself. I'm like, no. He's your agent. He speaks for
you
you.
hire the agent to speak for you.
Yeah, like, like he's not saying anything.
You co-sign.
Yeah.
You, sorry to cut you off. You, as a footballer or a manager or whoever, you have a PR team. Whether it runs your social media or your agent or whoever, you co-sign the stuff they say. And if you disagree with something they say, you either have a private conversation or you say publicly, make a statement about whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So if you don't like what your agent says, you either fire him or you talk to him and you say, nah, bro, don't want you saying this. That's not me. So that's crazy. It just sounds like Allegri. He's just the kind of guy. Look, respect to him. He's won a lot, and I think he's probably past his best. Definitely with Juve. Like I said, I think you guys need to freshen up massively. I just think like he's so what's the word? Passive aggressive. That's a perfect way to define him. Passive aggressive, skirts around issues, isn't really straight up honest, and like he's always trying to, he's a bit sly. I don't know if that's the right. He's just a bit sly. Just a bit sly, and you can't do that nowadays, with players being all sensitive and stuff. Like you can't do that. Like, what are the players supposed to think of this behavior? By the way, it looks unprofessional. Very unprofessional.
It looks weird. Sorry, I was trying to fix something, but it does look weird. But for me, it's just it's just the moment. It's the timing. It's every single time like clockwork. Where I'm actually up to a point where I'm like, okay, now it's obvious. Now it's an issue, basically, because every single time something goes south, he is quiet. He doesn't take shots or he doesn't call out anyone, whatever. But he has people in the media who back him no matter what. And again, I back him on certain things as well. Quality, I get it. But even on Sunday, we don't have a midfielder. Like, we're cooked. Alcaraz is out. But I don't want to hear that as an excuse because it's not about Sunday. We have one win out of our last 6 games. That's the issue. That's the problem. Not, on one game you're missing midfielders. It's an issue, but man, 1 win out of 6, that's the main issue. That's why we're worried. Because if you won 3, 4 out of those 6, even if we were missing midfield, nobody was really that worried about it. It was like, yeah, just grind it out somehow. Now it's up to a point where many people are like, no excuse, basically. I don't care.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, oh, sorry, go on.
No. I was just saying like that's my thing, because I can take certain things, quality and the squad build. I accept all those things because I'm not an idiot. Like the team is what it is. Even if the next coach comes in, we need quality. Even if Allegri says we need quality, that's never been an issue. If you're pro Allegri or Allegri sign a new deal or Allegri
Not the
leave.
complete product.
That's
The
it.
complete.
That's
Yes.
it. And that's what he like. Even his own buddy mentor said that in the past he could change games, and then he flipped it, saying, "Oh, but he had more quality." But I remember many games he didn't bring on quality. He brought on Kwarwa Asamoah to change a game. Like good player, but like it's not that you're sitting on the bench. You're like, man, Asamoah on the bench. But he changed approach. Now we're chasing a game. He takes off Vlahovic for Milik. And I'm like, no, like we're chasing a game. You bring in Yildiz for 10 minutes, you take him off again. I'm like, no, like that's like for like, okay, I get it, but like if you do it every single time, it's not working. Like it's just not working. How many times are you gonna do it over and over and over again? You know, even on Sunday, if you don't have midfielders, if you only have Nicolosi, Miretti, and Locatelli, it will be an ideal moment to change formation. Even if the mindset is not gonna change, but just the formation. But I like if McKennie's not fit, he will shoehorn Cambiaso on the number 8. I know he's gonna do that. But he's not gonna play Nicolosi, Miretti, and Locatelli. He's not gonna do that. Kostic probably back in the team. Like certain things, he talks about wingers mentor. We don't have wingers. I'm like, we don't have wingers who can be this man consistent. You know, like you play 3-5-2 with Kostic, then you chuck in Wea or Junior, not wing backs, and you're complaining about we don't have wingers who can beat their man. Chiesa is struggling. You send out Sule and Di Maria struggle. Like, how many times do we need to go over and over the same thing? And then he brings up names. I don't want to I want to spoil it. I made a video and really quickly said Saka, Gnabry, and I'm like, yeah, come on, like it's like Gnabry even in 24, like I don't even know if he's still playing, by the way, but that's a different point. It's like saying, oh, we need Mbappe. I'm like, yeah, like everybody needs
Who
Mbappe.
doesn't?
Like who doesn't? Like it's not gonna happen. Like it's just not gonna happen, and that's my biggest point. You know, that's just my biggest point. Um, I have another caller in. Is it? Wait, I'm gonna bring you on. Um, really quickly. Can you hear me, Spiros? Let me. Okay, you're in. So Spiros, uh,
Hi.
good to have you on. But I think you saw the interview of his buddy
Yes, yes, I saw
Guillermo,
it.
and
Yeah.
actually 2 weeks ago, I tweeted out like as a joke. I'm like, oh, we lost interview incoming, and yeah, like here we are, interview incoming. There we go again. His age or like his mentor speaking. But if you read the entire interview, it's just Allegri speaking to a certain extent. You know, it is. But what I want to ask you is that he talks about we don't have wingers and we don't have this and we don't have that, and that's all build up because at the first thing in the interview he said he lost a bit of magic, and then the excuse, like a lot of excuse making came, but he said he lost a bit of magic and he needs to admit that he is wrong at times. But is he going to admit that he's wrong? Because going off his mentor speaking, his agent making that statement, it doesn't feel like he's ever going to admit that he made mistakes. And post game, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you can remember, has he once in 3 years said, "This is on me, man. This is actually on me." I cannot recall it.
No, I don't remember such a thing, to be honest. I don't think he ever said like it's on me. I was wrong. I think he only says like, oh, the team didn't, understand tonight what to do, or they didn't do it this right. Like sometimes he talks like he's not the coach, like he's someone who watches the game, like us. I
Yeah.
don't. It's very confusing and funny. And also about the wingers, like he doesn't even play with wingers. I don't even remember him playing ever with wingers. So I don't know what's that about. Like he has the wingers and like, he's like, oh, okay, let's play Ealing as an eight.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
was
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I think it's just a strategy, you know. We just lose points, we lose games, and okay, Galeone, you know, come on, say things, say this for me, the other guy, and the other guy, and you know, I think it's just a strategy because the I think he feels and he knows that he's not doing it. He knows he's not doing it. He's not doing the job,
yeah.
and he just feels like okay. He wants. He just wants to protect himself. That's all. He doesn't really care for anything else. You know.
I I
It's
I agree.
self-preservation. Self-preservation.
It is,
That's exactly.
and Sirius, you made a good point about like, that was actually one of the first things I read that he talking about wingers, and I was like, we don't play. I cannot recall him wanting to like. I just like it didn't make sense. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me here? Like it was so weird, you know. And then he said, "Oh, he needs wingers to beat his man and this and that." And then he said, I told him he needed to sign Berardi," and I'm like, I watched Berardi at the Euro. He got benched because he couldn't beat his man, like, and he was playing a poor Turkish side at the time, and he couldn't beat his opponent. He got benched for a good reason, and then he says that, and he says, "I told Allegri you need to sign Berardi," and I'm like, "But you just said you want the players who can beat his man consistently and all those things." And then you throw out Berardi. That's not him speaking. I'm sorry. Like we know Allegri wants Berardi. Like we know that. So that's not him speaking. Like certain things obviously are his own words, but certain things it's just like if you I'm gonna say it for an example. Because a lot of people watch me every single day. If I repeat a thing every single day, some of you guys you start actually believing in what I believe. Even if you never really sit like because it happens to me. You know, you get influenced by people saying the same thing over and over again. You know,
Human psychology.
yeah, it's just automatic. Like I watch podcasts and on football clubs, and you know, like what? Maybe I was wrong about that player, and I'm start viewing that player the way they speak about it. And maybe it's completely wrong, but it's just like it's just normal. It goes with the flow. Like it happens with everybody. That's what I have a feeling as well. You know, when he talks about Allegri over and over again, it's like, yeah, Berardi is good. You know, and like I said, Madueke, like he brings up that name. I'm like, there's no way you know who Madueke is. Like, there's no way you sit back on Sunday and watch Madueke play Bournemouth. Like, there's no
Or you
way.
watched him at PSV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's no way. Like I really do not believe that those are names. And again, I'm not saying Madueke is a bad player or whatever. It's just the idea behind that, behind the
Yeah.
fact that he's in front of the media speaking, and I'm like he's talking about Chiesa and all those things. I'm like, it sounds very strange. You know, if found like it's just every single time I'm just like, okay, here we go again. And I've not seen it for any coach ever that he has a mentor, a close friend, go to the media and speak about. Because even Fabio Caressa, who's a good friend from him on Sky Sport, last season he was just it was like Allegri but with an AI voice transporter. Like it was just him speaking, and I was like, come on, like you're a national TV, you're a big personality, make up your own mind. Just give your opinion, even if it's in line with I like what Allegri does. Don't make it so obvious that you're trying to protect him because 3 years in a job and what he did in the past, nobody's gonna take away. But that should be irrelevant to now. It should be, you know, it really should be. And I think it's been taking too much into account. Oh, you won in 2019. I'm like, yeah, like it's not. No, what was it the last time you won? 2008? No, 19 it was. You know, with Ajax.
Sabi.
18. Yeah, but Allegri's last season was I think 18, 19. So it's not ages ago. Like it's 4 or 5 years. It's not. Oh my God, it's 20 years or so.
Yeah.
But at this moment in time, all signals are saying he's not the right guy. Because I don't think he's a bad coach, by the way. You might not like his approach, but at this moment in time, it's just not a good fit. What do you think, Steve? Because players or no, going off what his mentor is saying and the links, he wants players who are absolutely never gonna sign in the next 2 to 3 years. Like, there's no chance. There's no chance we're gonna sign those players. So that's why I'm like, for me, it's a big fit. It's a wrong fit at this moment in time.
Mismatch.
A mismatch. It's a mismatch.
Yeah, like I said, last time I did hopped on one of the Colin shows, I said y'all need to refresh. You need to turn the page. You know, you need to you need to move on from these Alexandros, these Miliks, these Allegri. You need to bring in a Mota, bring in someone from a different league. Bring it. You need to refresh. You need to give Juve something. Give Juve and you guys as Juve fans something different, new approach, new formation, just a new way of running things, right? Because it's the same thing over and over, and eventually that regresses and you don't achieve anything. Because say what you want about the other clubs in Italy, maybe not all of them, but some of them try to refresh things so that try to bring in new exciting players or a up and coming manager, and they actually build something. What I see at Juve is we just rely on the past, and we're gonna try to make Alexandro a squad player, effective one, but he's not. He's not an effective squad player at all. He's completely finished. You know, like there are guys you just have to move on from, and yeah, Allegri, like I agree with you. He's not a bad coach defensively. He's clearly not a bad manager, but what separates someone like Simeone from Allegri is we've seen Simeone play some good attacking football recent years. Put up lots and lots of goals. Won a La Liga as well with Luis Suarez and those guys. So we've seen him actually kind of refresh things a little bit. Still have a great core of players at Atletico Madrid. Griezmann being like the figurehead, but they're adding Molina. They're adding Pablo Torre. They're adding new, exciting, young players or really good players. With Juve, it's like it was good that you signed like a Weah. That's a good signing. That's something different, exciting. But if you're not playing him in his correct position, what's the point? If you're not utilizing Chiesa's strengths, Cambiaso, etc. Like for you guys next year, Connie De Winter, I think is gonna play a big part under a new manager.
Oh, he's gone. We sold him.
Oh, for real, to Genoa?
Yeah, it's done. He's not coming
Oh, I
back.
thought it was just a loan. Okay.
No,
Damn. All right.
they're signing him. It's done. Like,
Bro, I want De Winter then. I want him. I want
Yeah.
him so bad. I would take him at Newcastle or Lazio, to be honest. I think he's had a very good season.
Yeah, he's
Um,
having a good season, but he's gone. Like, it's done.
Wow. Okay. Damn. Well then. Well, you still okay. So you have Sule, you have Barrenechea. So those are players that I think should be given some more minutes. Same thing with Illing Jr. That would be if I was a Juve fan, I'd be more interested in that than, like I said, the Alexandro and the Milik and these guys that are way past anything close to their best. Bring in something new. That's what I think. I don't know if you guys are. Of the same.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
we
you
need.
guys need a big refresh. Something new.
I think we just need a new idea to begin with. That's it.
Yeah.
And James, I see your point and I agree, because at one point, even when we were not playing fantastic and all those things, we had money to throw at players. We don't have the money as well. Like, to lure players in now, it needs to be exciting. It needs to be clear. You're not gonna lure in wingers when they just see how the other ones are struggling. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, it's impossible that's gonna happen. But the last topic I want to talk about before we wrap it up, because I need to wake up in like 6 hours. The main thing, Rabiot, because like I said, his mouthpiece said we need four quality signings. A midfielder who can score, assist, can shoot out from the box. But he started off with saying you need to keep Rabiot. Rabiot is a big topic. Rabiot is a big topic. Spiros, he is not signed a new deal, right? And there's so many conflicting reports, but it's very obvious he's waiting. And I'm like, I'm not sure what you're waiting on, because we need to finish Champions League. Yeah, like if you mess this up, then I'm not sure what we're talking about. So what do you make of the entire Rabiot situation? Because he's on 7.5 mil. He's not gonna take a pay cut, And if you sign him now, I don't think 1 year deal will do it again. I think it will be a multiple 2-3 year deal, 7.5 mil. Uh, and he is waiting on, I'm not really sure. Now, what do you think about Rabiot in general? Will you keep him if Allegri stays, if Allegri leaves? Because it's a big topic now.
To be honest, I don't know. Like it's a very funny topic because first of all, like his words, like it was Allegri, it was Allegri because you cannot say,
Yeah.
I want that player who does that thing, and then you say, I want Rabiot, so so it doesn't really make sense. Um, I would not pick. I would not keep him to be honest. But I think I think if we go to Champions League, it has to happen. To be honest, I think he might stay, and I think the club also wants to keep him because he has experience and this stuff. They think like that. So I think he might stay. For like 2 3 years,
Even if Allegri is gone.
and yeah, I think he might stay. Yes, yes, yes. And let's not forget if you actually get Thiago Motta, for example, he knows Thiago Motta. Like they were
Yeah.
teammates. So yeah, so I would not be like surprised if he stayed.
Like,
Like it's not like you get, I don't know, De Zerbi or something. I would say yeah, he's gone. He's totally gone.
but
Or you get Spalletti, even Spalletti. I would say I don't know
Spalletti.
something. I don't know.
Yeah, but
But
on Rabiot, really quickly, I don't like. I backed him so much on this channel. Like, you're one of the early one of the channel. I backed him so much because I like Rabiot. Even at PSG, I don't like
I
this
remember,
version
yeah.
of Rabiot. I don't like this version of Rabiot. I don't like this version of Rabiot, especially at 7.5 mil. It's very simple. Like, he can do more. Like, he has a physique and actually
He's
tech.
talented.
He is talented. He has a good physique. He has a good pace as well. He can keep the ball because he's big, and also technically he's not a poor player. However, this version of Rabiot on 7.5 million is not good. It's slow. It's so basic. I'm like, you can have anyone doing that job. It's like,
Complacent.
that's, yeah. Like, I don't like this version of. I don't know, Speedos, if you watch him at PSG as well, but he looked like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
different
yeah.
player.
I
He
think it
looked
was
like a different
it, yes.
player.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I think he's just lazy. Like he got the
Yes.
money and he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine.
He's
I'm
doing
fine
what he
here. I'm,
wants to
I'm
do.
having fun. I think he also feels like he's the man. Like he's like, whatever happens, I will play. You know, like I play badly, hey, I'm gonna start next week. No, but it doesn't matter. Like Kostic, for example. Like it's the same. It's the same thing for them. Like they don't have competition. Like
Yeah,
they should have, but they don't because it's Allegri.
yeah.
Mm.
And even with Pirlo, like Pirlo also liked him. He benched him. Like you don't play. Well, you don't play. This is like
That's how
this is
football
how it
should
is.
be.
Yeah,
That's how football should. Like, Vlahovic got benched when he wasn't playing well. Then came on against Frosinone, scored, and took off. So,
yeah,
like, there's favoritism in the squad. I get it. Like, but if, let's say, we had Chiellini and all that stuff like a couple years back, and Chiellini had a bad pitch, I understand why you will not bench Chiellini, if that makes sense. You're gonna get out of it. You're gonna snap out of it. I'm not gonna bench you. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. You know, I get that because the how do you want to say that, the bag, like, everything you build up, the status says you're not gonna bench Chiellini. Rabiot had one, like, how many, like, it's his fourth season, right? It's his fifth season. This is his fifth season at the club. He had one very good year. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's about it. If I'm being completely honest, that's not enough. That's not enough status to say you're playing. Poor game, no poor game. You're playing every single week because you're that guy. He's not that guy. And against Napoli, we lost that game. Our own fault. Like, I have still no idea how we lost that. Like, I know how we lost that game, but we should have won that game.
Mhm.
That game was different. Look at that midfield. You know, Like, we didn't lose that game because that midfield was poor or defensively were crap. We lost that midfield because we couldn't finish our chances, and a youngster made a stupid error at the end. That's why we lost that game, because it wasn't that Chesney was needed to make saves. Napoli had nothing, but that midfield, for the little we had possession, especially in that first half, looked mobile, looked like they could play. And even with Junior in that team, there was movement. It's not static. It's players who can run at people, take on people, run without possession, can cut in, all those things. It's different. It's not going to look perfect because they never play together. And in training, I don't think that's the focus as well. So that's why it looked a bit all over the place at times, because it's only going to be normal. My fear is on Sunday, it's back to Kostic, it's back to the old ways. And I'm like, okay, then what was the point at doing that at Napoli for one game? Like, what was actually the point? Then stick to the boring type of football and just try to see out the game. That's my thing. And again, let's see. I think on Sunday, let's see. But at this moment, like, and I agree with him, just be in survival mode and just grind out the points until the end of the season, because I think time is really ticking for this time. For a lot of players and coach as well. Like, that's the feeling I have at this moment in time. Even for Rabiot, I think if Allegri is gone, I think Rabiot was like, you know what, Premier League, here I come. I'm gonna take those offers, because why would I stay? Why would I stay? And actually, we're linked with coal miners. Like, we're not, like, I don't see us keeping so high wages on the books. They're trying to lower
Yeah.
Vlahovic, even Chiesa. Why would you keep Rabiot for 2 to 3 years on 7 mil? That's just, I don't know. It sounds very strange in my opinion.
Nonsense, yeah. By the way, Koopmeijer is a very good player. It depends what manager you bring in, though. That's the thing that I've never understood about these clubs that are going to move on from the managers. So, like, obviously, this is Xavi's last year. Barca get a new manager. Liverpool are going to get a new manager. Klopp's leaving. It's like, and you guys might have a new manager, it might not. So, like, how does the media know what players you want?
Yeah,
What if
that's,
the new manager doesn't like the new expensive signing?
yeah. I
That
mean,
was kind of stupid to buy him in the first place.
I think the media is just having a field. And now certain players, I think any coach will like. So you're
Yeah, of
you're
course.
good with that, but it's very early. Like, we've been linked with half of Bologna, half of the Bundesliga. Like, it's at this moment, it's just silly scene. It's pointless, actually. Um, but yeah, that's what I said early on. Like, you need to make your mind up now. Is Allegri gonna say? Is it gonna be Mota? I know with certain players, I need to start contract negotiations. With certain players, I can wait. And the list of targets, if it's Mota, this is the list and the players potentially he has in mind, and we can see it out. I think
Yep.
it should be wrapped up by now. But I'm gonna wrap up the stream because I need to go to bed. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for joining again. I will have you on soon also for the Lazio preview. That's in a couple of weeks, actually. And thanks, Spiros, for calling in again. Always nice to have you on. So
Thank
thanks.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody in the chat. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will be live on Sunday post game, a couple of hours after the game, hopefully with a good vibe and not a depressing vibe. You can probably call in as well for that one. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, have a good day or evening, depending on where you're watching. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. Ciao.
Good stuff.
Okay. Thanks.